All right, let's jump right in. Business finance, sometimes it's simple math. But what happens when it becomes a really complex puzzle? That's what we're diving into today, the world of technical accounting.
And look, here's the core of it. Your day-to-day bookkeeping, the usual debits and credits, super important, no doubt. But modern business, well, it doesn't always play by the rules, right? It doesn't stick to the script. And when things get messy, those routine processes, they just don't cut it.
Okay, so first up, let's explore that territory. We're going to look at those specific, high-stakes situations that live way beyond your standard everyday accounting. And this really is the million-dollar question for anyone in finance, isn't it? What on earth do you do when a merger or some new financial product or a really tricky contract comes along and there's just no simple, off-the-shelf answer? This is exactly where you need more than just a calculator. You need judgment, you need interpretation, and you need some serious expertise.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how often does this stuff really happen? Well, for bigger companies, this is practically their Tuesday. Take something like revenue recognition. Sounds simple, but imagine you're a software company that just sold a 3-year subscription. How much of that cash do you actually count as revenue this quarter? Get that wrong and you're in big trouble. These things can have a massive, massive impact on the books.
All right, so we've laid out the problem, this world of complexity. Now let's talk about the solution. There's a whole specialized field designed to tackle exactly these kinds of headaches.
And here it is. I love this analogy. Think of technical accounting as the special forces for your finance team, right? They're not doing the daily patrols. They're the experts you call in for the really tough missions. They analyze those unique transactions, decipher those super dense rulebooks, and create rock-solid documentation for the trickiest issues.
And here's the thing, this kind of expertise can't just live in one country. It has to be global. I mean, whether your company reports under IFRS, or maybe Ind AS, or the US GAAP, technical accounting has to cover it all. It's about speaking the exact financial language you need to, no matter where in the world you're operating. Okay, so we get what it is, but how does it actually work, in the real world? How do you go from a totally confusing financial mess to a clear, confident position? Well, the approach is super methodical. It really boils down to 3 key steps. First, you analyze the transaction from every single angle. Leave no stone unturned. Then, you dive into those dense accounting standards to figure out exactly how the rules apply. And finally, and this part is so crucial, you document everything. You lay out the why so the logic is crystal clear to anyone who looks at it. This quote really hits on something important. This isn't about some outside group just coming in and taking over. No, it's a team sport. The whole point is to work with the internal finance team and the auditors. It's a proactive approach, right? You get ahead of problems, you clear up any confusion, and you avoid those painful last-minute fire drills during the audit. Nobody wants that. And all of this work, this entire process, it's all driving towards one thing, one ultimate goal, to build a financial position that is clear, confident, and most importantly, completely defensible. I mean, just look at the before and after. It's night and day. Before, you've got ambiguity, you've got risk, you're kind of holding your breath, worried about what the auditors might find. And after, you've got clarity and confidence. Instead of those late-night fire drills, you have efficient, clean resolution. You can't put a price on that kind of peace of mind. So what does that defensible outcome really look like? What does it mean? Well, this whole process is designed to make sure the final accounting has 3 powerful, absolutely non-negotiable qualities. First up, it has to be accurate. This is the foundation, the bedrock. The numbers have to reflect what actually happened, full stop. If it's not accurate, nothing else even matters. Next, it needs to be consistent. This just means you apply the same rules to the same types of transactions, time after time. Consistency is what lets people trust the story your numbers are telling year after year. And last, but definitely not least, it has to be defensible. This is your shield. This is your armor. When an auditor or a regulator comes knocking and asks, hey, why'd you do it this way? You have the clear, detailed paperwork ready to go. You can justify your position without even breaking a sweat. And look, these results don't just appear out of thin air. They're built on real, tangible work. We're not talking about theory here. We're talking about in-depth analysis, hands-on support for all those global standards, and the creation of detailed technical memos, documentation that is literally audit-ready from the moment it's written. So I'll leave you with this question.
In a business world that's only getting more complicated by the day, is your accounting really ready for what's next? Is it built just for the easy stuff? Or is it truly ready to be accurate, consistent, and defensible when the stakes are highest? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.